got in touch and came in with us and had a conversation with them. Basically, they have three demands. Which one is to have an open conversation with the university, and the second one is let me just yeah, the second one is to threaten to break nominations agreement with us providers if they do not offer substantial rebate for term two. Then the third one is to take sexual violence seriously. No more excuses or deniers. We have had enough, and the university need to change. So those are the three demands they had, and then they said they are not leaving the counter building until that demand is met. All the demands, actually, all of the demands. Which one was met? Which was an open dialogue with the rent strikers, which were there to support with, and they actually had one more demand on getting there, so that they were like, none of them or none of the rent strikers will be detriment. We have any detriment based on their academics, and which we hope to further discussion on that, which we supported by saying, myself and Andrew, by saying, of course, these two campaign is a student right, so they shouldn't be detrimental at any point or have any academic consequence or implications. So finally, so they talked about having microwave refrigerators and having a shower, which was a bit of a dialogue, and it was objected by thank you Ed. It was objected, not really objected, it was Neomikai said he needs to speak with some other management staff in order to get permission for them to use that, which that's why we had the second meeting. So the second meeting, and they were granted permission to use for the microwave to be brought down, and for them to use the refrigerator, and probably for food to be brought in if they need other members to bring food for them. So basically, that's the update, and we hope to we told them we'll get in touch as frequent as possible, and we emailed Chris Husband, the VC, as well for further communications. And I don't know if Andrew have anything to add to it.
Thank you, Praise. Before we go to Andrew, I see that Andrew has joined now, which means we have chorusy. And uh, so I will call the meeting formally uh, to order. And so welcome everybody to the Union Council meeting for April 2021. I think logically it would make sense just to let Andrew continue if he has to add anything about it, and then I will move on to apologies and the minutes of the last meeting. So Andrew, if you could, if you have anything to add to what Praise said about the rent strike occupation, it's over to you, please.
Yeah, the core demand there, it's all about meeting with university management and leadership team. And they are saying without that, they will not leave the building. But I'm more concerned about their welfare. But after consulting with the management, I think university will not be able to meet them till next week, or they need to come up with actual day. But however, the rent strikers, they also needs to come up, because they suggested that they need to come up with framework of how maybe subsequently they are going to approach their demands and how university will attend to their demands. So they will come up with the framework and send the email across to me and Nemekai about that, about the framework and how they want the meeting to be. So those are the key things. And another part of their request was the minutes from the previous meeting, where concern was raised around sharing it with their members on social media. And they've been able to clarify that probably they're not going to share it on social media, but some of their group on WhatsApp, probably they will share it with them. So those are the key things probably that I think I need to have. But however, they're still in the building, and I've been able to discuss with the security that if they observe anything in terms of their head, because I'm more worried about, since yesterday they've not been able to microwave their food or use a fridge to put things that they bought so that it will not spoil. But however, before we left, we've been able to agree with the university to provide those things. But I've discussed with security as well. But around those that were assaulted yesterday, from my findings, I've been able to investigate both from my university and rent strikers. And what we saw on video and what they share is real as well. Part of my email to VC, I expressed my displeasure, and I'm still going to put something across to students as well. But what we saw is real.
Thank you, Andrew. Does anyone else have any comments about what Praise and Ishola have said, or regarding that matter in general? Yes, over to you, Gabby.
I just want to check like what our standpoint is as like a whole team of officers and reps. Like, can we say that we support the occupation?
Is the question for me or for everybody?
Well, for whoever feels capable of answering.
Yeah, but I think it's a good idea, and so releasing such statement that will support the occupation of the building makes sense. Although my concern is we could release statement that we are support of the rent strike decision, right? That would make sense from my own perspective, because not just rent strike, we were able to discuss with some of the concerned students. A lot of them were outside. In fact, some of them were asking seriously that what is going to happen? How can 3 people disrupt their academic? I think Nimikai was there, Praise was there. I was surprised. I have to educate them that the students are doing the right thing. And most of those that are outside that got deadlines and the like, that their assessment is subject to entering into that building was not happy at all. I have to like talk to them, lobby with them, give some my email that email me. I will try to work with the university to extend your deadline and persuade most of them before they leave the building. But I'm happy with your suggestion.
I've seen the rent strikers say on Twitter that they're not preventing students from going in, that students can go in and do their work. They're not trying to prevent that.
I don't think the rent strikers, they're not preventing students from entering, but I think the university are more, part of what we observe is that they're more concerned about how the situation would be when students are in there and there is protests going on. And as well, they're talking about, because like yesterday, they said some people like outside that tried to enter the building along with them, that they were able to prevent when they were unable to provide their ID. So, but for now, students have not been able to access the building, aside from security and the 3 strikers that are here.
University and security preventing students from accessing the building?
I think it's university.
Okay, well, yeah, that's on the university then, in my opinion. But
Ed, over to you if you have to say anything, and I will come to Hannah after Ed.
Yeah, I was just to go and respond to you, Gabby, and I think Andrew's kind of mentioned this already as well. But like, I think it's important to remember. So the wording of so for example, you think about the rent strike policy, and I mean, I feel like this is potentially covered in that, because the wording isn't we a pro rent strike necessarily. Well, the wording is we support the rights of students to take the political action they deem necessary. I feel like that still applies to this. So we don't have to say, I mean, I can imagine that there may be some hesitation to say, put on social media, we support occupation or something like that. There may be some kickback there, but I don't see why we can't say we support the rights of students to do what they think is necessary. For example.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed. Hannah, over to you now, please.
Yeah, so this, obviously I saw this last night on Twitter, and then within my Silver group meeting this morning, they were pulled out, a few people were pulled out to take phone calls around it. So I contacted the chair of the Silver group, obviously I had to ask without directly asking what the issue was about, and just let him know that I'd seen a video that the student rent strike went into the Cantor building, and he updated me of what exactly what Praise said, and I think it's worth just noting that they're investigating the security response here, because obviously wider events within the world, and the video could obviously be quite triggering for some people, and I think it's important that our security we understand exactly what happened, and also train security if whatever the situation that is looked into. My question, Praise, is just around one of their demands around the sexual violence. Now, I have been involved in lots of conversations around this topic. I've had a lot of people contact me. There's an awful lot going on currently, both at the university and within the union around this. So I guess understanding that demand a little bit more would be helpful, because of there's so much being implemented, and if what has been implemented isn't being effective, then I need to feed that back, or maybe not just me, like officers, whoever is leading on the area will need to feed that back, because we need like on the ground feedback around this, because obviously a lot of work's been going into it, and if it's not working, then we need to tell people.
Yeah, to move that forward, I mean, sorry, can I respond to that?
Yeah, of course, Praise. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. To move that forward, I think in the conversation with the university, we will be part of it. So I think, of course, you're an officer, so you'll be part of that conversation, so we can always talk about it there. What do you think?
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I guess, yeah, if there's wider conversations happening, that's fine. I think we just I can pull in the right people, I guess, if anyone else that might need to be involved.
Yeah.
Thank you. Andrew, I will come over to you in a minute. Before that, Abby's been for a while. Abby, over to you, please.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I don't think, have we or are we going to be writing like a statement about it, or like, releasing some form of comment about it? And obviously it's something that, if it's happening right now, kind of needs to be done as soon as possible. But I feel like that would be something that, kind of based on the policy that we passed for rent strike and everything, I feel like we're obligated to do that and make sure we do it as soon as possible. I was just wondering if anything's been discussed about that.
Any response to that from anybody? Yes, Ed, over to you, please.
I mean, just as a procedural one, if we do want to do that, then I'll probably need to let marketing know pretty soon. If we want it done today, obviously it's weekend. It's going to be the weekend, so.
Thank you, Ed. What I will do is I will just let Andrew. I think Andrew wanted to raise a point, and after that, I will come back to you on that, Abby. Perhaps we could take a vote and see whether council wants to make a statement about that, and if so, we will decide what the best way would be to proceed with that. Because as Ed pointed out, Ed would need to know today or as soon as possible regarding the matter. Andrew, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I just want to say on their demands, Anna, I don't know, and I don't want to presume, but I think their demand around sexual violence, I think they want quick response, like something very fast, that I believe they need like quick response than some of the campaigns and maybe what we are working on now. But I'm not disputing it that we can work with them on that, and that makes that one a bit difficult. But however, during the meeting, we definitely will listen to them and hear what they will say. But that was what I observed. And let me have this on the those students that was taken down for real. Because I tried to like talk to all the security there, and one thing they told me that I observed was that initially they thought they were stranger, but however, my concern is even they said the first person, I think, was the security was an external security, and my point of view as well was external or internal security. That is totally unacceptable for students. So, but I agree with all our points. And like I said, I'm not going to guess, but I'll probably relay something as well based on, because some of the students that saw me there, they were like, okay, we'll look forward. I'll probably based on what I observed there and the findings. But I think university also, they are continuing their investigation on that. I just want us to be sure that we balance our information, if it's possible to generalize, especially our concern around how the rent strikers were being treated, which is not fair, totally not acceptable. That would be very good. I don't think we are, but I think we need a bit more of investigation as well from the student union. And I think I'll feed back my findings as well to some of the staff. So, but that is what I think though.
Andrew, one question. If you could also respond to, in relation to what Abby asked, whether a statement would be made, and if so, Ed would need to inform marketing as soon as possible, as Ed said. So is that something that you think is viable at this point? And is that something that you could potentially respond to Abby with regards to what she raised?
Yeah, probably Ed should link up with Megan and let's see the content, and
I'm
we'll put
just
it out.
giving them a heads up now. I'm just going to send them an
Alright.
email to let them know.
All right, that's good then.
Abby, does that satisfy you in terms of a response with regards to what you raised?
Yeah, no, I just thought like, it sounds like we keep talking about our standpoint on it, and I was just making sure that kind of we get that out there as soon as possible. You know, I wanted to make sure that, you know, that obviously it's a continuing issue. I want to make sure it's dealt with, like in terms of our statement is out there as soon as possible. So that's fine.
Thank you, Abby and Andrew. Right, guys. So yes, of course, we were discussing the rent strike occupation previously, and now, although I've called the meeting to order, let's go to the first few items of the agenda now. So I would like, as I've said before, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Union Council meeting for April, and I would also like to congratulate all the individuals who ran for the student elections, recent student elections, and especially those who have been elected for the upcoming year, including the newly elected president, Praise. So congratulations to all of you who ran for the positions, as well as those who have been elected. And I'm sure everybody will join me in congratulating all of them. And now we move on to the apologies. Domain, over to you. Are there any apologies, please?
So I've had apologies from Kelly. I've had apologies from Dia, because she's on annual leave. I've put George too, because I swear he sent me an apology, but for some reason this month I've not got it written down. But I swear he has sent me an apology.
He's got a migraine.
Yeah. All right. No worries.
Okay. Thank you for that, Domain. And let's move on to the minutes of the previous meeting. Yes. So could someone, I'm assuming everybody has seen the minutes, could someone propose that the minutes are correct and they're an accurate reflection of the meeting held of the previous Union Council meeting? If someone could propose, please. And nobody wants to propose that the meeting minutes are correct, it appears.
I'll
But
do
then
it. I'll say they're correct.
Yeah, unless someone, sorry, does anyone think that any amendments need to be made? Speak now or?
No.
I'll
No,
second.
okay. Okie dokie. Okay, so Gabby proposes that the minutes are correct. Sorry, who was it that seconded, please?
I'll second. Well,
Okay,
Praise.
Praise. Yeah, Praise. Thank you. Okay, so the minutes are proposed as correct and seconded. Right, now we come to the matter of the proposed membership of the PDC, the Policy Development Committee. And I will hand over to Domain, who will very succinctly explain to everybody what the proposal is. Domain, over to you, please.
Yes, so I think we discussed a little bit about this last Union Council, but I'm aware that that was a month and a half ago. So this is just an item to give people an update on what's happening with Policy Development Committee. So we've had 2 policy development committees so far. They've both been really useful. So the terms of reference are that 4 people must attend to meet quorum. That includes the chair or a nominee if the chair can't come, a Students' Union staff member and a Students' Union officer. We also initially were going to just have it where we didn't invite proposers of motions, but we've now changed that. So we're inviting proposers of any motions that we're going to discuss because we felt that was fairer. And we've had 2 PDCs now where we've invited the proposers, and it's worked out very well. And hopefully that will show in like the quality of the policies that come forward in the next few months and the next year. So I believe this item was just to basically let Union Council know about that and just give them an opportunity if you have any questions about it.
Any questions about the proposed membership of the PDC? Okay, if there aren't any questions, yeah, I would like to call it for a vote to formally approve the PDC membership. And Domain, would you be very kind to do the vote as usual?
Well, do people want to just comment? That might be easier just because there's not many people here.
Yeah, sure. I don't think anybody has said they wanted to comment. Okay. Gabby, yes. Hannah, yes. Abby, yes. Bailey, yes. So we have 4 yeses at the moment. Praise, yes. Lake, yes. Andrew, yes. Ria, yes. So that's passed unanimously. Yeah. Brilliant. Fantastic. And now we move on to the policy proposals. Andrew, can I just check with you that I've been told that you need more time for the BME. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And so then we move on to, and Emmanuel is not here today, so I would assume that, oh, sorry, Andrew, the attendance monitoring is remaining. Do you want to take that up now?
All right, let me take that quickly. Well, I think what we have is more self-explanatory, and we've discussed at length on it during the policy development committee. Let me just explain. The objective of this is to ensure that the university, they're not going to be using attendance to determine student grade, especially those that this usually affects privately committing students and some students that have valid reason for them not to be able to attend classes for a certain number of times for one good reason or the other. And now that part of what university they are introducing for next academic year is to fully introduce recorded lecture to all teaching and learning, because we are going, next academic year is going to be blended teaching and learning. So they might want to be like taking attendance on Zoom as well. And that's why I try to link it up to the aspect of not forcing students to put on their camera. And also, there is something in university called learning analytics. I don't know if we are aware of it. The learning analytics is like a software that will show how students are engaging, how many times you log into MyHallam, how many times you have used one university resources or the other. One key thing that I raised when I was the education officer, when they NIMICA introduced this, was my concern around using it to monitor student attendance. And it was clearly spelled out that it would be for engagement monitoring support. They use it to check student engagement, and through that, they will be able to produce student support to students that is probably not really engaging. So that is the objective of learning analytics, because I know incoming officers, they might bring that, and if they are not aware of it, they will probably want to use that as attendance monitoring. And lo and behold, just last week, during one of my meetings with university, this is even for praise, BT engineering department, they have policy that they call attendance monitoring now. And I've been able to use this policy with the belief university thought is still valid to tackle it, and especially using learning analytics. So having said that, the objective of this policy is to mandate president and college officer to take forward any student concern on issue relating to attendance monitoring, and the full-time officer should strongly oppose any proposal from university to incorporate attendance into the disciplinary matter. So I think briefly I've talked about what is in here and maybe what other things is not there. I don't know if there is any question on this policy.
Any questions?
Sorry, just to ask that attendance, it won't be a determinant, you said, but will it be part of the determinant?
Determinant for what?
For students passing a particular course.
No, they will not use attendance as determinant to decide student grade or outcome of their academic performance.
Yes. It won't be the major determinant, or will it be part of it? That's what I'm asking.
See, as the way it works with universities, that some of the lecturers, they've been in the past abuse it, they'll use attendance as the main engagement, and they will tell students that since they have not been engaged, either they fail some certain course or repeat it. We've experienced that, and we've experienced situation whereby some of the tutors even monitor that attendance to the extent of taking regular attendance, even when there was no learning analytics over there. I mean, for every lecture, to determine their grade. So the objective is not for university to use attendance attendance to maybe determine student grade. Should in case you have valid reason for not being able to attend number of maybe teaching section, it should not affect your grade or your score.
Does that respond to your question, Praise?
Yeah, I'm just thinking that, is this what the student wants?
Of course.
Okay.
Thank you. Are there any further questions? Okay, if not, I think it's time to put the policy for vote. If Andrew is prepared to put the policy for vote now.
Yeah, I'm happy to put it forward.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. Okay, guys. So in that case, so the attendance monitoring policy is up for vote. Again, if everybody could comment, please.
I'm just adding my comments so that I can differentiate the votes from the previous one.
Yeah.
This one confusing.
Ria, yes. Gabby, yes. Bailey, yes. Praise, yes. Hannah, yes. Andrew, yes. So that's already passed. Late, yes. Yeah, so the policy has passed. Thank you. So the next policy that is...
Apologies, do you mind if I say this?
Yeah, of course, go on, Andrew.
Yeah, I want to say this to prayers and probably head. Please, let's try as much as possible to follow up with engineering. I got to know about this during the week. I mean, I think it was last week or early this week, and I've been able to argue about it. And they promised me that they will not be using attendance to determine student grade. But if we could still do more follow-up, because they just came up with this policy in engineering department. And Sam replied to me that no, it's for engagement monitoring. But however, let's try to find out.
Thank you. So Emmanuel is not available today at the Union Council meeting, so presumably we will not be able to discuss Emmanuel's two policies at present. So then the next policy which is available or which is to be discussed is the LGBT plus inclusivity policy. Bailey, would you like to, are you happy to put that to vote today, and would you like to discuss or introduce the policy?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Please, over to you.
Yeah, so the policy that I'm putting forward today is the LGBT inclusivity. And what I want to do for this policy is add the Q onto LGBT plus. It's a simple change, but it's an effective change, I believe. And it's used more universally than LGBT plus. And I think that is a necessary change.
Thank you, Bailey. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Andrew, you appear to be reading. Do you need a bit more time? Do you need a bit, you appear to be reading something. Were you reading the policy? Do you need a bit more time?
No.
All right, thank you. Right, in that case, I will ask council to vote on the policy, please. Demain, if you put another comment at the bottom, just so that it, yeah, brilliant. Yes, and the policy passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Bailey. Brilliant. And then the next one that we have is the accessible social media policy. Would, yes, it's over to the proposer again. Firstly, if you would like to put it to introduce the policy, and if you're happy to put it to vote.
Yeah, so I've kind of made this policy in collaboration with Gabby and Mike. So Mike's not here, but Gabby is. So if Gabby wants to interrupt at any point, then that's fab. So essentially this policy is to try and make sure that social media that we have, whether it, like obviously with the union, but also a lot of the universities are the same, is accessible to people that have different impairments or disabilities that may mean they find social media difficult to engage with. And sometimes, like especially with COVID, social media is a massive part of engaging with the university experience. So we want to make sure that as many students as possible are able to engage with the social media of the university and the union. So essentially, it's a policy that says we need to do certain things to make social media posts more accessible. So making sure we have captions or subtitles on video content, which is pretty much, like universally done, but it's making sure it's in the policy. Add image descriptions, so all called alt text or alternative text to all kind of images and graphics. Just basically saying a brief outline of what's in the image, so people that can't see it can have it read out to them with a text reader. Including warnings if there's flashing images, including content warnings if there's a sensitive topic, so that aligns with the content warnings policy. And then be mindful of the number of emojis or emoticons. And basically what happens with that is some people that are using like a text reader, it'll just read like a star, and it'll be very repetitive and it'll be very difficult. So it's a very minor thing, but it makes a big difference to other people and people that have different disabilities or struggles. So yeah, it's basically the policy has got some kind of advice on it about how to, do alt text, and it's got some appendices about how to kind of do that as well. So it's kind of got the results, like the how-to there, because it can sound a bit complex, but it's actually really, really simple. So the policy is essentially saying that the Students' Union will automatically adopt all of this on all social media that they take part in, and using those steps that I said, and then the president and the officer team will lobby the university to do the same. And I've put in a note about looking into the possibility of using British Sign Language interpreters for critical promotional videos. It says look into the possibility. So it's not they have to do it, but it's something that kind of may be important. If there's something really, really important, it could be important to have that as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, just any questions or anything or any clarification?
Yes, Council, over to you for any questions. Does anyone have questions with regards to Abby's policy? Yes, over to you, Hannah.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea. Somebody I follow on Instagram, she always has a bit underneath her caption which says image description, and I wondered if it's like, I wonder if you actually write that or if it's a thing that is done via an, I don't know. I was just wondering about like the actual
so yeah, so that's a very good question. So essentially most of the time you will add it yourself, so like that influencer will add it themselves. So what you so a lot of people, a lot of the time you can do it under like advanced settings, so then when people click and hold on the photo and they're using a text reader, it'll read it out to them, but other people will just do it in the body of the text. So you'll see sometimes it'll have like the actual post and then it'll say image description. And it's basically, that's where you type it or you'll put it in the correct box. It's completely kind of, no matter how you do it, it's beneficial as long as it's being done, but there is different ways to do it. But yeah, you would write it yourself normally. I think some applications do try and understand what you're doing, but it'll be like a person and it'll be very confused because it's very difficult to understand. So generally it's a very, very short description as well. Like you don't want to have it detail every single thing, just basically say like the essence of the image so they don't feel like they're missing out.
Thank you, Abby. Any further questions? Okay, if not, Abby, you're happy to put the policy to vote now, are you?
Yeah, Gabby, you happy? Yeah, fab.
Brilliant. In that case, over to you, Domain, to put a comment at the bottom for the vote.
Fully misspelled accessibility. Can never spell it. Is it 2 S's? It is, isn't it?
I don't even know half the time. I spell it wrong all the time. My little dotted red line is always there and I've got no idea.
Okay.
It's 2 S's.
Policy has passed. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Brilliant. And then we move on to Wednesday afternoons with Hannah, please. Hannah, if you are happy to once again introduce the policy and put it for vote if you're happy with that as well.
Yeah. You don't need me to share the screen or anything, do you?
Unless anyone specifically wants screen share.
Anyone want to need it? I can happily do it.
I don't think anyone. I mean, nobody has particularly indicated that they do. So I think you're
Sweet.
either way, as long as you're happy with it, it's fine.
Yeah. So putting forward a policy on no scheduled teaching on Wednesday afternoons. This policy was submitted in 2017 and 2015-16. The SU did some research into the number or the frequency of scheduled teaching on a Wednesday afternoon. So putting forward this policy to continue the work that has been done previously. I don't really know what to say. I guess I'll go to what. So I'm really passionate about this because this isn't just a time when sports clubs have their training and their matches, but it's also a time that societies can meet up. They know that they have regular Wednesday afternoons free, so it provides a really nice regular social calendar. It allows them to do trips so they can go further afield than just Sheffield, and also allow students who are really interested in volunteering or even like stage services, who want to do additional things alongside their degree. And there's so much research out there currently around how those extra things that you do outside your degree play a huge role and a huge part in terms of your individual development, your professional development, and also your employability development. So it's not just, I guess, the traditional Wednesday afternoon is for sport. It's so much more than that. I would like this policy to mandate full-time elected officers to lobby the university leadership team, the college leadership team, and timetabling to keep Wednesday afternoons free. And also if they have pushback, explaining how the positive impact on participating in extracurricular activities can have on the student offer experience and, as I mentioned, the students' employment outcomes. It's much easier to do this within undergraduate courses. However, I do think we have a lot of scope to be doing it in postgraduate taught, and also for part-time students on undergraduate courses, because part-time students are still an undergraduate, and they should still have an opportunity to take part in university life activities, to use the new representation system platform to report any issues, so that college officers can then, and any part-time reps can then feed that straight into departments and colleges, and to mandate full-time elected officers to make all part-time reps, department reps and volunteers aware of this policy, and inform every staff members within Sheffield Hallam University of this. Hopefully that explains it. On a, I guess, additional, after I submitted this to Union Council, I've had a conversation and a meeting with Timetabling, who have given me data on the last 3 academic years of Wednesday afternoon timetable teaching, and I'm currently just sort of delving into that data to see if it's decreased, increased, stayed the same, etc. With a caveat obviously for this year and COVID, but I think it will really highlight the importance of extracurricular activities to student offering experience, and obviously the impact it can have on their academic life, academic progression. Any questions?
Thank you, Hannah. Yes, over to you, Andrew.
Yeah, well done on this, Anna. I think this is a great thing, because last year I faced a lot of issues, especially with sports team around Wednesday afternoon. And I don't want to sound pessimistic, but however, it's quite unfortunate that I missed the policy development meeting where this was discussed, because with my experience then as education officer, for real, I don't know if it is possible for us to change this, but if we really wants this policy to achieve the objective, Anna, I know it covers college officer, but I would have suggested that we should mandate college officer, because they are the group of officers that we have full access to, how do I put it, the timetable, and I will work with timetable team within the colleges and university. I know it could be maybe probably you have been active now, you're able to access the data, but I know university, when it gets to a stage, they might be reluctant to listen to any other officer. That is my own view, but however, I'm still happy to go with it. And one thing that I would like to probably ask Anna is that I know last year there was issue around Friday afternoon as well. I will have maybe suggested we expand it to Friday as well. Friday covers Muslims for their prayer, and as well some sports team on Friday, because they do have missing teaching and learning on. They do miss it on Wednesday and Friday, and it's always difficult to recover those missed sections. I don't know if you get my point, but it is too late for real, but that is where I just want to come in from. But however, this is fantastic, and if we could work more on sports team that, let me remember, sports, there are some sports team that last year they complained about not just Wednesday afternoon, there are some days of teaching and learning or time that they miss due to training and tournaments. They have to follow up with lecturer, although they gave to like 20%, 80%, they don't get that missing teaching and learning opportunity again, that opportunity again to receive those lectures. I'm checking it, I don't see what covers something like that. So, but it is what it is. Maybe we could come up with something else. And however, the Wednesday afternoon that we are talking about, I don't know, maybe when you check the data, you will see. We need more work around health, well-being, and life sciences, because when I was tackling them like last year, they came back to me that there are some courses that they don't have choice than to have timetable for that Wednesday afternoon. We tried to reduce it a bit, but they still were like, no, they can't reduce, they can't make it every, because of the nature of their courses. And probably those are the area that George could work on, or I could maybe search for more information, give it to you, and probably you and George will work on something we could put together as policy to provide, to protect area that this policy didn't cover. But however, it's a great one.
I guess just in terms of that last point you said, Andrew, it also occurs in computing, and it's to do with specialist spaces that they have to use Wednesday afternoons in some cases, because they don't have enough hours in the day, and the number of teaching that is scheduled within specialist spaces exceeds the number of hours in the week. That if they don't use Wednesday afternoons, then it happens on weekends and evenings, and obviously we can't have teaching scheduled on a weekend. So I think that's also part of the issue that we are having to tackle. So I think if we did have a policy around that, we can definitely figure out, there's going to be some sort of manoeuvring room, and it might be more specialised than just a blanket policy, and it's a policy specific to particular departments or colleges. And I think that would probably be more effective. And your other points, yeah, I think might pick up in terms of like mandating college officers. I'm happy to put that in, but I would say maybe it's covered with all officers, but happy to be re-challenged on that in terms of, like, obviously I've mandated full-time officers to lobby the university leadership and college leadership team, so I guess it kind of has that in there, but it's just not explicit in the words that you said, and maybe it's more effective to put college officers explicitly as a different point.
Thank you. And I think Praise has a question or comments. Praise, over to you, please.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Just the bit around where Andrew said mandating college officers. I just need more clarity because, as far as I'm concerned, I am not in conversation with the timetabling team. I don't know about Late and George anyway, but during this 1 year, I was never with any timetabling team to talk about timetabling and all that. So maybe moving forward, has there been any development or update on college officers being part of the timetabling team? Andrew.
Over to you.
Yeah, I think why you experienced that probably was because of emergency issue around emergency team that they form around COVID, and they centralize timetable because it's basically going to be online and Zoom related. But I know before we do have it within the department. Until now, I know there is still timetable team within colleges. University prepare student timetable based on the feedback the timetable team they get from staff within the colleges and feeds to university at the center. Do you get what I'm saying? And even if they complain around maybe bunching or timetable or Wednesday not free, it usually comes to, it will definitely come to you as college officer because you are representing them within that college. But however, I'm happy with Anna's point. We could go put full-time officers there. I mean, full-time elected officers there.
Okay, I want to know where the issues come from. I don't know, Laith, do you have these meetings in your college? Maybe it's my college that I don't have it. Anyway.
Laith, over to you, please.
I've met some timetabling team before, but not on issues based on my college, more so issues that we've discussed beforehand, you know, when they didn't release the timetables early enough last year, for example, or when we were looking at considering student parents to do with seminar change groups, you know, that sort of thing. But I haven't explicitly met any college timetable team or anything like that for any college specific issues.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe we need to pick this up later. Yeah, Andrew. Yeah.
Thank you for your input, both Andrew and Praise, as well as Laith. Hannah, having heard the comments and the feedback from everybody, what is your viewpoint? Do you want to put the matter to vote now, or do you want to make any amendments?
I'm happy to put a vote now.
Okay, not a problem. Okay, so the policy goes to vote as it is, and over to you again, Dr. Main, to put a comment at the bottom so people can vote. Yeah, the policy passes. Fantastic. I believe that brings us to the end of the policies which have to be discussed today, given that Emmanuel is not available today. So we go on to the officer accountability reports. Now I'm aware that there is a question from Mr. Matthew Smith. Just to clarify, Jermaine, was there any request from Mr. Smith to attend the meeting today at all?
He said that he would like me or someone else to read out these questions. So I got back to him and I said, would you like to attend? And he hasn't actually got back to me on that.
Okay, so he's not waiting outside for speakers, right? So anything?
No, no.
Okay,
no,
right.
I can actually answer the first question because that's primarily my fault.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we? I'll ask you to, in that case, if you're happy to do it, if you would read out the question so that there's a formal, so that it is recorded as well. So if you could read out, and then the relevant officers could perhaps answer the questions. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is to the president, but also some of this is partially under my job description, so I also need to respond to this. So the Student Union Policy on Council Transparency commits the SU Council to make all audio and video footage of the meetings available to all students via social media, as well as keeping a copy for the archive. Video footage is not available on the website as it stands. When will this be made available? So partially this is my fault for not keeping on top of this. From now on, I am recording this meeting, and anyone who wants it can request a copy, but I am going to try and work out a way of putting this one on the website too. And also with the new democracy coordinator going in, what we're hoping to do is sort of make it kind of more an event, sort of encourage students to come in and actually observe and get that accountability. So, you know, advertising Union Council on social media and perhaps making it an event on the website. So this one I am going to put on the website and make sure that he has access to it. And I'll also put that in the handover to whoever takes over as democracy coordinator.
Thank you, Jermaine. Andrew, is there anything further that you would like to add to that as president? Thank you. It is unfortunate that Mr. Smith is not present to say whether he's happy with the response or not. So given his absence, I'm happy to take it as that the question has been answered adequately. And thank you for that, Jermaine. I think that concludes Mr. Smith's question. Sorry, yes, Jermaine, yes. I think you're on mute.
Oh, apologies. So we have a second one. So this is
the
Sports, Health and Wellbeing Officer. So that'll be Hannah, Health, Wellbeing and Physical Activity Officer. I always get mixed up between those job titles. But it's to Hannah. A study from the Ardington School 2018 found that participating in arts and crafts gave the individuals concerned a high degree of feeling inspired, learning and using the brain, being energized and feeling relaxed, as well as 53% of respondents in the same survey reporting some physical health benefits from doing arts and crafts activities. What has the Sports, Health and Wellbeing Officer, or rather the Sports, Wellbeing and Physical Activity Officer, done to ensure the online activity this year has included online art and craft activities for students?
I've worked alongside Danielle to provide different types of arts and crafts. From the last...
If I may interrupt you, I know that all of us within council will know who Danielle is, but just for the benefit of Mr. Smith, if you could just say who Danielle is. Yeah.
Worked alongside the Give It a Go and events coordinator. I'm not sure her job title is massively correct, but it's definitely got Give It a Go and events within it, to organise a range of arts and crafts. Currently on Instagram that I saw today, and on the website is a session around drawing your favourite animal. We also held a session, when was it? Were we end of April, beginning of April, end of March, around I think it was origami, and there has been multiple other sessions both before and after Christmas. We did some sessions in the lead up to Christmas around fun Christmas arts and crafts, and I think we also did some in the lead up to Easter. So we have been providing multitude of opportunities for students to get involved in arts and crafts throughout the year.
Thank you, Hannah. Again, as I said, since Mr. Smith is not available, I think I'm happy to accept that as an adequate answer. Of course, it's unfortunate, as I said, that Mr. Smith is not here to seek any further clarifications if he does need to do so. Okay, with concludes questions from Mr. Matthew Smith. Thank you. Okay, in that case, let's go on to the officer accountability reports. Over to you, Andrew, if you are happy to start with. I know I always get you first.
No worries, you are the boss. Well, I don't, let me say, really have much to say. Firstly, let me report on the election, we've been able to have successful election, and well done to Ed, Demi, Megan, most of the marketing team, Julie, and the like, because even before that election, the average number of voters we received from some of the union was around maybe a bit more than 1,000 or around 900, but lo and behold, we are able to break the record and go more than 3,000, if I'm right, and we are able to increase the number of voters, and the election was free and fair and as well successful. But you know, one unique thing about this election this year that I'm still happy with the effort of the staff is around the voting process was so easy, like unlike last years before that students struggled to vote, that a lot of them got discouraged because of tedious voting process. So the election has been successful. And as well, secondly, we are in the period of bunching in terms of a lot of students got deadlines, exam. I think some are starting this week and next week, and a lot of postgraduate students got deadline from now to May, and those that are doing dissertation. Currently, we have been working with officers to ensure that we don't have bunching in any area where we identify bunching for students. We've been discussing with university how to make the assessment much more easier for students because of their mental health, and also issue around extension requests. I've been following up seriously, coupled with the work we have done in the past with around February with safety net around the new policy that supports students. Is it fair outcome policy? We have been following up to ensure students really benefit from it. And as well, I think late as well, along with other officers, we've been working on more support for disabled students. So those are the things I've been doing. And I don't give up on the discussion with university, especially around rent issue, student agreements, the need to curate opportunity for early release from contract when situation or condition warrant it with university, and the need to discuss with landlord to provide short-term rent opportunity for students. Because I believe if all these things are in place, I don't think we'll be having the issue that we are having now. And fortunately, it was part of the student housing policy that was passed during the just concluded NUS conference. And last week, we've been able to get outcome from the university that, okay, we should draft an email and come up with what we want, which I'm currently working on now. So I've been working on that. And the negotiation has still been going on to provide support for rent strikers, especially on some of their needs. And I hope everybody know my stand on some things, but I'm still lobbying for support for them. But between now and last meeting, close to 13 students from Element, they got maybe letter from landlord, tried to threaten. I got email from some parent, from some student, different emails. Some are asking, why are you allowing this? Why are you allowing? Some are in support, but we've been able to provide support for most of them, and I've been able to lobby university and work with the landlord to maybe slow down the process, that they should not issue any litigation, but I don't hear any litigation now, although 2/3 of the students probably went back and pay their rent. But however, it is still not over. We know what is happening now. As of yesterday, I've been seeing a lot of emails and getting email from students around, I think, Charles Court about demand for rent. And most of the email I've been seeing, I think through university, they've been sending emails to students around requesting for rent to the tune of, I think, 2,000, average of 2,000. And I've been following up to ensure that, you know, all this demand does not have negative impact on student assessment and the like. Although I'm still struggling on how to provide support for some, because both university, student union, there are some situations that we find ourselves, like those in Element, that we couldn't come up with any support if students refuse to pay the rent. But I still think there should be support, no matter the situation, no matter student decision. All I'm doing is to lobby for support. I still hear me facing today around, especially Charles Court, but I'll follow up on that. Probably by Monday, I should be able to get feedback. And finally, generally, I'm still lobbying for student support generally, because this time students really need assessment and academic support. No matter what policy that is out there supporting students, a lot of students are still facing issues that probably we have not been able to cover. So I've been following individual cases, and I've been able to link some up with some of the staffs within colleges to get support for all these students. And lastly, I'm working with the university on post-study visa. We got like, I think 30-something students that they will not be able to qualify for post-study visa, the international study, just because of gap of 5 days. After maybe being here for a year, for 2 years, and because of 5 days or 4 working days gap, that disqualified them. So I'll be sending email to Paul today to find out the update, because he said he's working on it about how to support those students and ensure that they are qualified. So I think all of that is general work I've been doing collectively with officers. So let me stop here so that I will not take much of my time. Over to Praise, Praise. You are the first on my screen.
Thank you, Andrew. Just before we go over to Praise, any questions from anybody to Andrew? Okay, if there are no questions, over to you, Praise, please.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I will start with the event I've been doing just to engage students more on Instagram. I had 4-week event, which we gave out, and that was on Alam Union Instagram page, where we gave out prizes from the officers' budget, prizes for, just to make sure that students are engaging well in lockdown, which was very successful. We had so many engagement from students. At least every week, we had almost 300 students engaging on that platform. And again, moving forward from that, I had a post-COVID student academic experience event, which was very successful as well. And it was held on Zoom and Facebook, where a lot of students engage, especially international students, which we've also learned from that we need to spread more on wider range of students, not just international students, but we had a lot of international students engage on that, and which we hope to have series of that. And the next one might be in September, where we need to have some questions not being answered yet. And there was concern about what Andrew just talked about, the post study work visa as well. And it's been a concern which we've been directing emails to the university as well as Paul Bloomfield, the Sheffield MP. And again, BME ambassadors, we've been working closely with them, and we've actually, myself and Andrew, now we have 9 BME ambassadors, 3 per each college. Then, of course, the ones in BTE, we were able to introduce them to the college for them to be able to have conversations around BME concerns, and for them to be able to attend some important meetings. And we all know why, because so that BME student can have a sense of belonging, and of course to decrease or reduce the degree awarding gap. And moving closely from that, there was election which I participated in. I'm moving forward from that. Bunching, yeah, assessment bunching, which I've had a lot and lots of emails from that, and yeah, I've been able to attend to them. If I'm not mistaken, I had almost 20 to 25 emails from students on assessment bunching, on them having lots and lots of deadlines close to each other, which I've been able to attend to. And the ones that need to take extension took extension. The one that needs RRAA extension requests.
I think it's request to repeat assessment
Yeah,
attempt.
yes, thank you very much. So yeah, we did that as well. And so that I think that's my latest. And yeah, of course, this morning the rent strike which we attended to, and I've given report on that. And what else? Yeah, NUS conference, which was very successful. And I was, or yeah, I was, yeah, it was now. I was an NUS delegate for Sheffield Hallam. I attended all the events, and which we propose a a policy, sexual violence and assault in the university, where one which Laith Jafar led on, and we proposed that, and it was accepted, and it's being followed up right now. And there were other policies launched as well, and the event was very successful actually. So there were good attendance, So basically, that's my report. I don't know if anyone has any question.
Thank you, Praise. And any questions for Praise? Okay, if there are no questions for Praise, who would like to go next, please?
I don't mind going next.
Yes, go on, Laith.
I'll keep it brief as well, because I just rather not take anyone's time if they don't need to. So two things. One thing is sustainability. So I've identified that we don't have a sustainability committee, and that's something that troubles me. And I think it's really important, of course. So I've been doing quite a few things in terms of sustainability and helping to review the university's carbon footprint. And especially during this time, which is great because institutions are able to review their general practices and are able to sort of make themselves more sustainable. So I thought it was appropriate to contribute to that conversation there. So I did, and then I realized that we didn't really have an outlet, for students to sort of share this passion or, share this accountability, I guess, to the university. So I've been speaking with a few colleagues and hopefully putting together a motion that will come to the next union council to launch a sustainability committee. So that will be work that you'll see shortly. And the other piece of work that I just wanted to briefly talk about, Praise touched on it a little bit, is a sexual violence policy that we put forward. I'm really proud to finally announce that it's been passed, and there will be a press release about it that will come through from the Students' Union and also hopefully other media outlets around the area. I just think it's so important that when you come to a university, you come to know exactly how they will deal with your situation. God forbid you do end up in that situation, but it's important to know that if you do, then the report and support services are adequate. I think what's difficult for me to comprehend is that there isn't a current national standard in the way that they deal with these cases, or there isn't a national standard of support. And I think that causes, inconsistencies in support. And I think with this sort of thing, we can't really afford for there to be any inconsistencies or any imbalances of sort of equity. These are people's lives, these are people's situations. And I think it's really important that all institutions across the UK are able to deal with all these cases in the best way. And I think it's the NUS's responsibility to do this research and to hold these institutions accountable to a specific standard. So that's basically what the policy is about. You know, feel free to read it. It will be on the Students' Union website soon. It's been particularly difficult to talk about this sort of thing because it's not a very light subject at all, and it's very harsh reality, unfortunately, especially looking at the figures. But I think that we've done a really good job presenting it, and you know, the team that I've worked with have been really proactive. So yeah, that's all I really have to say, and you know, thank you for your support.
Thank you, Lake. Any questions for Lake? Okay, if there are no questions for Lake, who would like to go next, please?
I think Hannah is the last
I think
person.
I'm the only
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, Hannah's good. Yeah, over to you, Hannah.
What have I done? I have been working really closely around the new progression of like the silver groups. So the governance around how decisions will be made, and there's been some changes, and I'm still going to be involved in the groups around that, especially around from like a facilities point of view. Sorry, I'm sat outside and all sorts of noises are going on, so I apologize. I've been writing like a report and a review on how sport and physical activity and well-being is valued and seen by the university. I've been working really closely with Team Hallam around ensuring that students within sports clubs have the best support, and we're supporting them in the right way and they got the right training, but also we're not hand-holding, and that we're allowing students to take things in the direction they want, and also allowing us to then better support students when something serious does happen, instead of us hand-holding before and then not being able to provide the right support when they most need it. There's been some really exciting work around, especially this links into my last manifesto point around like the stigma of the word sport, and how sport is a really scary word and it's almost used as a blanket instead of physical activity, and actually sport is a type of physical activity, and physical activity should be used more and should be prioritized more, and there's some really exciting work done in the lead up to Euros 2022 around offering greater chances for students who just want to have a kick around, and the work on, so if you always see a bunch of males having a kick about on the in a field or on a park, whereas you don't see the females, and obviously with the wider events within the UK, that could be part of the reason why, and just trying to combat that and trying to get more students more active. Yeah, I mean, there's lots that I've done. However, I can't really remember all of them, which is not very good on my part. There's so much to do. But yeah, I've been basically doing a lot of work around facilities and the opportunity around and the campus master plan. So there's a new group called the Future Spaces Student Board. So that's getting students' perspective on the direction that Sheffield Hallam are going around the campus, and ensuring that we are making the right decisions, and so that we aren't building buildings that are really not ergonomic in the way that they work and actually are really detrimental to students' learning, and trying to ensure that students have more space on campus, considering they are the bigger population, and currently there's quite a lot of area where it's just staff, so staff working environment, and they make up very little of the yeah, so I'll leave it at that because I think that gives you quite a lot of information. But any questions, please fire them across. Oh, and also the disabled student support, I think we are finally getting some there around the way that the university views students with a learning contract who identify with a disability, and the disparity between what they've had for support in comparison to students who don't have a learning contract. George and I had a really good meeting yesterday, which I had updated you briefly on at the beginning of the meeting. We're there, happy to update to everyone if needed.
Thank you, Hannah. Any questions for Hannah?
Not any questions. I was just wondering, like, at your leisure, I know you're probably really, really busy. If you could just let me know anything from that, anything that I need to be aware of or anything, because I obviously, like, I couldn't attend yesterday, but I still obviously want to be involved as much as possible between now and the end of my term. So, no, anything that you can update me on, whenever it suits you, there's absolutely no rush. But I'm really grateful to hear that we're finally getting through and finally making progress. So thank you very much for you and everyone else for advocating for disabled students. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby.
Yeah,
Yes, Prince.
well, I can just take Dia's update, and I think there's just an update that she has been mentioning lately, which is international student now has a web page on the Alam Union. So I think she has been so happy about that. So it's just for me to mention that we now have a page as international student as a page on Alam Union. So if there are informations there that international student might need, just to support international student more. And I think international student committee, yeah, I think is in motion already and is working. So I think those are the two updates I know that she has been mentioning on. I don't know if later as George update or something or Anna.
Thank you, Praise. If anyone has any comments relating to that, late.
I'm just trying to think of what else she's done. She's done so much, Dia. She works very hard. She's also been working with my college and I sort of connecting with our TNE partners, so transnational partners, a sort of educational partners. So like we have an institution in Hong Kong, in Botswana, etc. And we've been trying to sort of put some work together to connect with them a bit more and give them a bit more of like a, Sheffield Hallam University feeling. So that's sort of our ongoing work that I imagine that we're going to have to hand over to the new officers, but I just thought I'd make you all aware of that.
Thank you. Late, Hannah.
Yeah, sorry. One thing I did forget to mention is having conversations around with the university leadership team around in response to academic experience that I feel, especially in line with the policy that I've just submitted, that the activities and the extracurricular activities should be playing a part in the academic experience reports. I feel that they play a huge part in a student's academics life, that actually they need to have greater value by the university, and that when they're planning their, not just the timetable, but additional things and reviewing sort of academic experience, I feel that they should have a greater, they should have a platform where we can discuss it and speak about it, because currently there isn't a platform as such which is directly related to that. So I'm currently working on that as well.
Thank you. I believe that brings us to the end of the office accountability reports, unless anyone has any further questions or comments.
Well, let me just add this, that I don't know when the next junior council meeting will hold, but Dia might not be able to join us for junior council again because she'll be leaving by mid-May. So maybe if she's not able to join us, if you want to send a message and any farewell message to her. It would be really good for me, but she will not be joining us again for Union Council. Should in case our next meeting maybe it's anytime from mid-May to end of May. So she'll be leaving by mid-May.
Thank you for that update, Andrew. Okay, is there any further comments or any questions from anybody? Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the expiring policies. Now, I know before we reached Coracy, Domain mentioned most of it, but just for the benefit and for the record, Domain, if you could very briefly repeat the same, please.
Yeah, sure. So there's a few policies that are expiring. So I'll just go through them again. So anonymous marking, I haven't written down when that's expired, but I believe that expired in November. Right covers for Owen, that expired. Zero tolerance to sexual harassment, that expired. Officers and reps accountability, that expired in February. Equality and diversity training and sexual health, they're being looked at. Sports and activities welcome party and activities tour. So Hannah's looked at them, and we're going to potentially leave that up to the next officer to decide what they want to do, because it might not be appropriate at this time or needed. Disposable packaging, that expired in November. Caring for carers, that's about to expire in May. And fair fares, that's about to expire in May. There's a list of these on your agenda. So if you want any of them, just drop me an email.
Thank you, Domain. Praise?
Yeah, I want to ask, officers accountability report, is it different from officers and rep accountability report?
So it's different from council transparency. But according to the website, we've got two policies on like accountability. We've got officer and reps accountability and council transparency. So I need to check this officer and reps accountability one. I wrote it down actually, because when you click on policy document on the website, it doesn't actually come up with the policy, which is really weird. So I need to have a little search for that one. So I can send that one out if you're interested.
Family jumping.
Andrew,
I
yes.
think it's more of officers. Rep. We have officers accountability panel. I think we go officers and rep accountability. It's more or less like a panel where it's especially going to be for officers and rep to talk about what they have been doing. Students will be present, and people like staff of the union, student, and aside from presenting the report of what you have been doing, student, we have opportunity to ask you question directly. And so from what I've been hearing, I think it's always like that. And the officers accountability panel, especially that one's supposed to hold like twice or 3 times in an academic year. I've been to some of I was invited to Huddersfield as external officers to come and attend their panel. And I think I've been to 2 or 3 universities as external officer. But we have not been able to do this. I think last year we were not able to do it as well. So I think it's something that we really need to work on to get it. I don't know who is responsible for it. Oh God, I can see it's even president responsibility. I don't know.
Just thought I'd screen share to say what the results were there. I'm quite unfamiliar with it, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't even know, but I know we've been talking about it. They've been mentioning it. Last year, we wanted to hold one. I don't know. I think due to COVID, we couldn't hold it. And that was what it's all about. Students, we have opportunity. You talk about what you have been doing, how to come up the meeting, what you have been doing, from the mandate student gave you gave report back to them. So it's more or less like that.
Brilliant. If anyone's interested in that one, let me know. I can locate the policy and send that out.
Brilliant. Thank you, everybody, for your feedback on that. And Ed, did you have something to say? I'm sorry, I just wondered. Did you raise your hand at all, Ed?
I didn't raise my hand, but I guess my comment on that is I believe that that is factored into the new articles of governance, which are in the process of being approved, I believe. And once that's in force, which I believe it will be for next academic year, that will be something that will be done as a matter of course.
Thank you, Ed. Praise, over to you again, please.
Yeah, I have something for any other business, but before then, I just want to ask the main. These policies that have expired, are there anyone there that is very urgent or important that we need to take up now, or is everything still left like okay if anyone wants it? You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if I can say, you know, which ones are the most urgent ones. You guys would know that better than me. Yeah, because I don't know if I can say, you know, if that would class as sort of, you know, having favoritism for certain
Yes.
policies.
Yeah. I think it's up to the council members to and the officers to select which policies they would deem the most urgent and take them up. I think that would be the best approach.
All right.
Would you agree, Demain?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. To be honest, a problem that I said before with a lot of these policies is that quite a few of them, to be honest, a lot of them are non-functioning. So we've passed these policies which are really good, but they're perhaps not being implemented. So I think with most of the policies, if they expire and no one raises them again, you're not actually losing any sort of, you're not sort of stopping any continuity or anything, which is a real shame and something that hopefully we can work on in the new restructure in the next year.
Thank you, Demain. Praise, does that satisfy you in terms of a response for your
Yeah,
question?
yes, it does. But just wondering, I think we talked about it in the policy development meeting that what where does this policy go from there, from here? So after it has been approved from here, so where does it go? Does it just go into the thin air? I think it's something we should think about and have a Because of time, I won't want to go into that now.
Thank you, Praise. Very valid comments there from Praise. Thank you for that contribution. Okay, so now we come to any other business, and as Praise has indicated that he wants to, I'll hand over to you again, Praise.
Yeah, just as a point of, because some students have come to me, I don't know if I to mention it here. I don't know. There's just some have come to me that they might want to have end of the year. Maybe it's an SU, but of course I can have officers and reps opinion on this. End of the year, maybe get together or party or something. Since lockdown will be finally over, hopefully by June 21st. So I don't know what we all think about that. Maybe it's something we could plan as a team, or maybe an SU event or something. Just to, because everyone seemed not to, have, especially those that came in September, they had lockdown all through and the exam has ended. They just want to have a memory to keep, especially international student, there's no fun memory at all to keep for them. So I don't know. I think, okay, Gabby said it's nice. I don't know. Any other comment you want to talk, or we just want to write it on the comment or the chat?
Sorry, Praise, just to clarify, were you saying a party or get together for the outgoing officers, or
no,
or
for all,
sorry, for all students? Yeah, all students. Okay, yeah. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, I agree with what you say, Praise. Yes.
So I think it's something we can plan. Ed, Demain?
Ed, Demain, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, so the lockdown restrictions are due to end. Was it 21st of June at the earliest? I think it's worth remembering. So it may be that is not the case, that we're able to do that. So we were at that meeting the other day, weren't we, Praise, yesterday, about something that the university is planning over the summer that might be kind of like a hybrid thing. So perhaps we could look at that. Yeah.
Okay.
Something like that.
So we'll talk about it next week more. I will put it to representation meeting. Yeah.
Yes, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm conscious of time. And please, I think we should try as much as possible to invite all the elected officers and rep to come and observe next union council.
Yeah.
So that they will be able to grab how we do things. And I know we might still get for June, but I'm not sure if when our contract will maybe expire, maybe some of the officers will still be here. So, but however, if we could make provision for next meeting, May meeting and probably June meeting for them to come and observe, it would be really good.
Thank you, Andrew. Yes, and as I said, yes, it is a great idea, and of course, as Ed said, we have to be mindful of the lockdown regulations as well. So something to think about there as well. Thanks for that. Thanks for bringing that up, Praise. And
at least 3.
Anyone else who has to take up any other business? Anyone else? Okay, if there isn't any other business, the last matter on the agenda is the date for the next Union Council meeting. Domain, can I leave it with you as usual to send out thank you for that, Domain. In that case, thank you everybody for joining in today, and hope you all have a good month ahead until we meet again at the next Union Council meeting. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Sean.
attending.
Shared
Thank you.
wonderfully.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Hello. Just want to end the recording. You are muted, just so you know.
Oh, sorry, I was just writing some last minute things into the handbook
Okay.
document.
Do you want to just end the recording?
Oh, yeah, I need to stop that recording.